I am an omega residing among a dormitory full of alphas. Upon awakening from slumber, I discovered a bite upon my neck. To my astonishment, I bore the sense of 3 distinct pheromones. How utterly infuriating. Who could possibly have marked me? 1. I have 3 university roommates. One is the campus bully, muscular yet simple-minded. Another is the academic prodigy, a lofty and aloof flower of intellect. The last is the campus heartthrob, charming and flirtatious, surrounded by countless admirers. All 3 of them are alphas, while I am merely an unremarkable omega. Due to an error in the results of my secondary differentiation, fate has placed me in this dormitory. The other 3 are fully aware of this situation. Throughout a year of cohabitation, no unexpected incidents have transpired. I touch my neck, my gaze piercing as I scrutinize my 3 roommates. The campus bully, Huang Qian, is pulling himself up on the doorframe, sweating profusely while shouting, Han Lin, let us team up for a game later. The campus heartthrob, Han Lin, is preening in front of the mirror, not bothering to respond. I'm busy. I have a date with an Omega senior. You're such a cad. Prioritizing romance over friendship. After all the breakfasts I've brought you, move aside, you're in the way. These 2 engage in their daily banter, while the academic prodigy, Su Xin, remains quietly absorbed in his physics experiments. Throughout it all, the 3 show no signs of abnormality. It's inconceivable. Perhaps I should be more direct. I shout, which one of you bit me last night? The air grows suddenly still. Huang Qian slips and falls from the doorframe. Han Lin twists his ankle as he tumbles onto him. Su Xin inadvertently pierces a hole in his paper. 3 faces reveal a hint of guilt. A chill runs down my neck. Did all 3 of them bite me? 2. How could this happen? We were supposed to be the purest of friends. Frankly, I had no inkling that any of them harbored feelings for me. The reason I ended up in this dormitory was due to a mix-up during my differentiation check at enrollment. While everyone believed I was also an alpha, we shared a bond of camaraderie. That was until the fateful day when we played basketball with the physical education department. Huang Qian and I, both key players on the team, exhibited seamless teamwork and scored repeatedly. Just as victory was within our grasp, a faint scent of roses wafted through the court. What's that smell? I wiped my sweat as I sprinted, oblivious to the perspiration glistening under the sun. Huang Qian, nearest to me, suddenly pinched his nose and exclaimed, Jiang Ning, it seems to be coming from you. I froze, momentarily distracted as an opponent snatched the basketball from my hands. This muscular player from the physical education department swaggered around me with the ball, but the next moment, his expression turned to one of horror. You are. He abruptly covered his mouth and nose, turning crimson as he collapsed to the ground, writhing as he released a potent alpha pheromone. I was taken aback and stumbled backward. Hey, don't play tricks on me. I didn't T-push you. The referee urgently blew the whistle, halting the game. But it was too late. The intensity of the pheromone from that player overwhelmed me, causing my legs to weaken as I knelt on the ground. I had no idea which gate within me had been opened. The rich pheromone exploded from my body as if a rose bomb had detonated. All 9 remaining alphas on the court instantaneously entered their receptive period, unable to suppress the distinct aromas of their pheromones. The concentration was so potent that even passing dogs could become impregnated. The scene descended into utter chaos, ultimately drawing the attention of the police, as a group was escorted from the scene to a medical facility. 3. My first experience as an Omega, and I sincerely apologize. It was only at this moment that I discovered my true secondary differentiation gender. After receiving a full 4 drip of suppressants from the doctor, I finally managed to control my overheating reaction. Upon hearing about my hospitalization, all 3 roommates came to visit. Su Xin paused his experiments to check on me. Han Lin interrupted his date to see me. Huang Qian, even while receiving an 4, made a point to visit. He steadied the 4 stand with one hand while covering his nose with the other. Ning Ning, your pheromones are too strong. 1 down 9, impressive. Han Lin dabbed at my forehead with a handkerchief. The rose scent is delightful. He lifted the handkerchief, which had absorbed my pheromone, to his nose and inhaled deeply. I can't bear to wash it. I was left speechless. Aren't you afraid of going into a frenzy yourself? Han Lin playfully poked my nose. Worried about me, sweetheart? I couldn't bear to look. Is it merely looks that determine the campus heartthrob? Su Xin, at least, seemed to be the most rational among us. Even now, he couldn't resist studying. He was analyzing my examination report. He was so close that I instinctively followed his gaze. Beneath the half-page ultrasound image, a line of small print read, "Reproductive cavity developing well. No significant abnormalities observed." Ah, what are you looking at? I snatched the report away, flustered and indignant. You all need to leave. Omegas and alphas shouldn't be too close. Huang Qian brazenly pulled a chair and sat down. It's fine. We've all slept in the same room. What is there to fear? Han Lin sat beside him, pulling out his phone. Exactly. I canceled my date and have nowhere else to go. Shall we team up for a game? Huang Qian replied, Let us go. The two of them began a heated gaming session in my hospital room. Surprisingly, Su Xin chose not to leave. I looked at him in astonishment. Aren't you going to stay in the lab? Don't let it disrupt your research progress. Su Xin didn't respond. Instead, he leaned down to hold my hand. Don't move around. Be careful of the four. He settled beside my bed, placing his palm beneath my hand where the four was inserted. The suppressants were slightly cold, and after a while my hand felt completely frozen. Su Xin's palm felt exceptionally warm against mine. I couldn't help but glance up at him. The academic prodigy possessed a handsome face, his features refined and his demeanor refreshingly clean. To me, he looked even more appealing than Han Lin, who sported long hair and earrings. Shouldn't he be the campus heartthrob? Perhaps it was the effects of my physiological cycle, but my heart began to race. What are you staring at? Do I have flowers on my face? Su Xin's voice was melodious, deep and warm, devoid of any rasp. Oh no, why are my thoughts filled with pink bubbles? Is it because the suppressants weren't administered in sufficient quantity? I solemnly implored Su Xin. Could you please call the doctor for me? He paused for a moment, then reached out to check my forehead. Are you feeling unwell? The moment he drew closer, my heartbeat quickened even more. I quickly grasped his wrist. I need more suppressants. Another four. In the end, I was denied additional medication and unceremoniously dismissed by the doctor. Nonsense, that was already the maximum dosage. Keep your distance from alphas. That's the best advice. I returned to the dormitory, dejectedly making a decision. Brothers, I no longer belong here. I must depart. The three of them were taken aback. You're moving out? Huang Qian rushed in front of me, anxious. Don't, Ning, I can't bear to see you go. Who will wake me up in the morning? Who will help retrieve my clothes on rainy days? Wah, I can't manage without you. Han Lin shoved him aside, his tone sharp. Wasn't it me who woke you up? Wasn't it me who helped you collect your clothes? Stop making a fuss without understanding the situation. With that, he rummaged through his cabinet and pulled out a package, shoving it into my hands. Ning, being an omega is no issue. As long as you use the suppressants regularly, your pheromones won't leak. Just as I reached for it, Huang Qian snatched the suppressants away. Han Lin, how do you even have these? He tilted his head, mockingly. A player like you keeps omega hygiene products on hand. Impressive, truly impressive. Han Lin's face flushed crimson as he kicked him in the rear, exclaiming, What business is it of yours? Huang Qian immediately retaliated, pinning Han Lin against the table, growling, You've gone too far. And thus another scuffle ensued. These two seemed utterly incompatible. I quietly stepped back, inadvertently colliding with a sturdy chest. Su Xin stood silently behind me, steadying my shoulder. Did you not express a desire to learn roller skating? Allow me to teach you. I turned around, meeting his serene, profound gaze. Su Xin's pupils were a light amber, crystal clear and luminous. Compelled by some unknown force, I nodded slightly. In the night breeze, the school playground bustled with life. Pairs of young couples strolled or dashed about, basking in their sweet affection. I settled on the curb beside the road, eagerly donning my roller skates, casting an expectant glance toward Su Xin. The academic prodigy excelled in every aspect. He had performed an intricate slalom demonstration shortly after the semester began, leaving me utterly mesmerized. With his guidance, I surely could ascend to greatness. I excitedly reached out my hand to him. Su Xin lifted me up with unwavering steadiness. Then, the academic genius calmly instructed, Go ahead and skate. How could I possibly? I could barely stand. The moment I took a step, I tumbled into his embrace with a resounding thud. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I quickly struggled to rise. Yet, this was the plight of a novice. The more anxious I became, the less I could maintain my balance. Especially for someone like me, devoid of talent, I couldn't even manage to stand upright. I flailed in a frantic attempt to regain my footing, only to repeatedly fall. Panting and breathless, I found myself back in his arms. Even passersby couldn't bear to watch. "Hey there, are you plowing the ground?" I was drenched in sweat, looking up at Sushin for help. "Come on. Can't you teach me something?" Sushin's lips were tightly pressed, though his eyes sparkled with amusement. This rascal must be struggling to suppress his laughter. "I'm not learning anymore. What kind of person are you?" Deliberately watching my embarrassment, I resigned myself to the ground, but Sushin swiftly lifted me back up. He wrapped his arm firmly around my waist, holding me snugly. "Keep your feet shoulder-width apart, shift your weight onto one foot, and then take a step with the other. I'll support you so you won't fall, don't be afraid." Sushin was incredibly strong. I tentatively took a few steps forward. No matter how slippery the ground was beneath my feet, I managed to stay upright this time. A sense of security enveloped me. He held me tightly as we moved slowly across the playground, overtaken by numerous leisurely strollers. Sushin suddenly spoke up. "Most of the students in the School of Science and Engineering are alphas. It's unavoidable even if you switch dorms. It would be better for the three of us to stick together." I was momentarily taken aback. "Jiangning, don't move out." The summer breeze brushed against my temples, and Sushin's arm around my waist felt overwhelmingly present. Through the thin fabric of my t-shirt, his warmth nearly scorched me. I hesitantly replied, What a familiar bond we share. You three wolves in sheep's clothing. I should never have relented and stayed in this dorm simply because they couldn't bear to part with me." Rubbing the bite mark on the back of my neck, I exclaimed, "You've gone too far. I considered you good brothers, yet you harbored ulterior motives." "I'm moving out." Han Lin rushed over to embrace me. "Baby, don't be impulsive. The bite was merely a temporary measure. You know that." Huang Qian blocked my path at the door, arms outstretched. "Ning ning. You know how potent your pheromones are. One person simply can't contain you. So, you all decided to take a piece of me? Is this even a reasonable argument?" Sushin, who had remained silent until now, rose from his desk. He looked at me, his gaze steady and calm. "I'm willing to take responsibility. Why say it so formally, as if proposing marriage?" My cheeks burned. At just 19, I still had much to learn. I couldn't let myself be bound by an alpha at such a young age. Besides, I knew Sushin didn't truly harbor feelings for me. He was merely entranced by the pheromones of an omega. When I first moved into the dorm as an alpha, he had been the coldest toward me. That was shortly after the semester began, when Han Lin and Huang Qian were absent. The late summer heat lingered in the southern air, and our dorm lacked air conditioning. I had stripped down to cool off. When Sushin returned from the study room, I greeted him enthusiastically. "You're back quite early today." To my surprise, Sushin shot me a glance, his brow furrowing with intensity. "Could you please put on some clothes?" "Why? Feel so much cooler like this." Oblivious to his discomfort, I boldly approached him, attempting to unbutton his shirt. "Look at you, drenched in sweat. Your shirt is soaked. Hurry. Take it off and enjoy yourself." As I undid a couple of buttons, Sushin seized my wrist with a grip so strong it left a mark. "Ow, that hurts. Let go." Sushin's gaze bore into my eyes, his own tinged with red. I had never seen him display such an expression. It frightened me, causing an involuntary shiver to run down my spine. "Sushin, what do you intend to do?" After a long pause, Sushin closed his eyes and coldly forced out an apology. "I'm sorry." With that, he pushed the door open and left, leaving me stunned as I rubbed my wrist in disbelief. That incident had long since passed. Afterward, Sushin no longer treated me with coldness. Our interactions were relatively amicable. Yet, I could never forget the way he had looked at me then, both fierce and strange. He probably disliked me intensely but masked it out of politeness. I still had a modicum of self-awareness. I wouldn't impose on him any further. "You don't need to take responsibility. It's unnecessary." I dragged my suitcase and rented a small apartment off campus. Over the weekend, my 3 roommates helped me clean for an entire day, reluctantly leaving in the evening. Sushin was the last to walk out, hesitating for a long time before finally uttering a reminder. "If you encounter any trouble, call me. I'm available 24/7. I nodded and closed the door behind them. For the first time, I relished the solitude, freely reveling in my room. I binge-watched the romantic dramas I had previously felt too shy to enjoy in the dorm, playing them out loud for hours. After indulging in the melodrama, I contentedly turned off the lights and went to bed. The night in the rental was eerily quiet. A sliver of moonlight streamed through the curtains. There were no loud snores from De Huang or the sound of Xiao Han grinding his teeth. It felt somewhat unsettling. In the past, after lights out, Su Shen would have gone to the balcony to turn on the night lamp and read for a while. I wondered if the same moonlight illuminated his pages tonight. I missed them, but to want to return so soon after moving out. How embarrassing. I forced myself to endure, refusing to sit with them at meals or in class. After more than a month of this, I found myself compelled to seek out those three rascals. Because, dear heavens, I think I might be pregnant. Insanity. I'm crazy. I love melodrama, but I never wished for it to manifest in my own life. After dry heaving to the point of exhaustion, I dragged myself to the hospital for a pregnancy test. The doctor unleashed a barrage of criticism upon me. Do you have any common sense? How could a temporary mark lead to pregnancy? Did you skip your biology classes in high school? I shrank back, murmuring, but I genuinely feel nauseous. The doctor inquired, when did this start? What have you eaten or smelled? I pondered carefully. Just the other night while walking home, I encountered a perverted alpha releasing pheromones on the street. It was so unbearable that I started vomiting as soon as I got home. The doctor nodded. That's quite normal. It's a rejection response. Within your glands resides the alpha pheromone of another individual, and it is rather domineering. Thus, whenever you encounter other alphas, you will experience an intense reaction, compelling you to withdraw. I was taken aback. One person's? The doctor confirmed. Indeed, it belongs to the alpha who temporarily marked you. I mumbled, but three individuals marked me simultaneously. The doctor's gaze momentarily turned peculiar. The youth of today certainly engage in wild pursuits. However, the instruments only detected one alpha pheromone. The other two were ineffectual. I felt my cheeks flush as I twisted the hem of my garment. Could you please prescribe me some anti-nausea medication? The doctor replied, I cannot. You should return to the alpha who marked you and seek solace in his pheromones. Alternatively, you could ask him to provide some pheromones for a directed placebo at the hospital. I hesitated. Can I endure it? You could, but every time you encounter the pheromones of other alphas, it will be distressing. Frustration surged within me. Who could be so domineering? I stormed off, intent on confronting those rascals. Upon reaching the door, the doctor called out to me once more, his expression oddly cryptic. We also detected a non-belonging omega pheromone within your glands. The mutual biting of necks between two omegas serves no purpose. You should return and attend to your studies. I left the hospital, feeling as if I were walking on clouds. How astonishing! There was indeed a hidden omega in our dormitory. Suddenly I thought of Sushin. The mystery was solved. No wonder he had that expression when he saw me in the dormitory, exposed. At that time, I was officially recognized as an alpha by the school's infirmary. It was only natural for him, a pretender omega, to feel intimidated. After learning I was also an omega, he mustered the courage to approach me. It was somewhat regrettable. I had felt a slight attraction towards Sushin, but now we could only remain as sisters. With a sigh, I pushed open the dormitory door. Brothers, I'm moving back in. Baby.
Ning Ning.
Han Lin and Huang Qian joyfully approached to greet me. I embraced each of them warmly, seizing the opportunity to absorb some pheromones. Sushin stood by the desk, obstructed by the other two. He glanced at me, a subtle smile adorning his face. I approached him and hugged him tightly as well, conveying a reassuring glance that said, Don't worry, sister. Henceforth your secret shall be my guardian. Sushin appeared slightly puzzled but did not dwell on it. He reached out to gently touch my cheek. You've lost some weight. Have you not been eating well outside? I squinted and rubbed my face against his soft palm. Indeed, only an omega would feel concerned for another omega. Sushin, my bedding 1T be available until tomorrow. May I sleep with you tonight?
Sushin froder momentia.
Are you certain? I nodded vigorously. Of course, it was only safe to be with him. I dared not climb into the beds of those two alphas. The dormitory beds were rather narrow, and at night, I lay on my side against the wall, clutching Sushin's waist. Since we were both omegas, a little embrace shouldn't be an issue, right? However, Sushin remained stiff, lying rigidly and avoiding eye contact. He was still unaware that he had revealed his true nature and was desperately trying to maintain distance from me. I had intended to share some intimate secrets with him, but I let it go. I closed my eyes. There was a faint, delicate fragrance emanating from Su Shen's bedding, and I soon drifted into slumber. This sleep was peaceful and secure. The next morning, the discomfort of pheromone rejection had vanished without a trace. It seemed that the pheromones of Han Lin and Huang Qian were quite potent in this room. As long as we were in the same space, it would suffice. However, I could not bind myself to them for life. I had to identify the one who marked me to procure a targeted placebo. But how could I broach the subject? Pheromones were far too intimate. Everyone typically concealed their own scent. Requesting someone else's pheromones was akin to asking them to donate at a hospital. What was the difference? Moreover, I had no idea which of the two it was. I couldn't possibly ask both to provide a sample, could I? That would be utterly absurd. I furrowed my brow, trying hard to recall the events leading up to my marking, attempting to piece together the truth. That day was, in fact, my birthday. The entire dormitory had gathered to celebrate, and after enjoying cake and singing, we proceeded to the bathhouse for a thorough wash. The trouble began when I got intoxicated. Initially, I was merely tipsy, but the hot water made my head spin. And then, suddenly, things escalated. After losing control on the basketball court once, the doctor had prescribed me a hefty dose of suppressants. I had not experienced any heat for nearly a year. Who would have thought they would suddenly fail in the bathhouse? In a panic, I wrapped myself in a towel and rushed outside, colliding with Han Lin, who was drying his hair. I hastily grasped his arm. Do you still have the suppressive patches you gave me last time?
Han Lin loked bewildered.
He wrapped a damp towel around my neck and hurriedly led me away from the crowd. No, those are used in a timed manner. It's too late to apply one now. Then what should we do? My pheromones were spiraling out of control, a rose bomb ready to explode. Han Lin hid me in a safe corridor and resolutely declared, "Baby, I'm sorry, but we have no choice." A sharp pain pierced the back of my neck, but in my dizzy state, I could hardly react. Time ticked by, and the scent of roses intensified, seeping from my pores uncontrollably. I was on the verge of tears. Han Lin, can't you do anything? What are you two doing? Huang Qian's voice faintly reached us. He had followed the scent to find us. What the hell? Ning Ning is going wild again? His words made me feel like a rabid dog. If I had any strength left, I would have jumped up to hit him. Huang Qian anxiously paced back and forth, rubbing his hands together. Last time, Ning Ning's pheromones knocked out 9 people. Han Lin, you alone might not be able to handle him. Let me help you. The towel around my neck was yanked away. I opened my mouth helplessly, gasping for breath, resigned to my fate. Stop. Su Shen arrived at last. I was on the brink of unconsciousness, feeling like a roasted shrimp. In my haze, I sensed the two holding me were pulled apart, and I was thrust into a sturdy embrace. I'll take him to get suppressants, you don't need to worry. Indeed, Su Shen was the only good person. Although he might have secretly marked me, leaving behind some omega pheromones, it was likely just to test whether the bond between omegas would work. A person of his scientific caliber would have valid reasons for any action he took. My focus turned to Han Lin and Huang Qian. As for who truly marked me, I would need to observe closely. The testing report the doctor provided included an analysis of the pheromones from my marker. The scent profile was somewhat complex, featuring tobacco, leather, and a hint of faint rum. Such an ostentatious aroma could only belong to Han Lin, that flamboyant scoundrel. Just as I was about to storm back to the dormitory to confront Han Lin, I was suddenly embraced from behind. Huang Qian, freshly perspired from basketball, was completely unguarded as he draped his arm over my shoulders, gulping down mineral water.
Ning Ning.
Are you hungry? Let's go eat together. I froze momentarily. Wait, he smelled faintly of smoke. When one sweats profusely, pheromones sometimes seep through the perspiration. Could it be Huang Qian who marked me? I couldn't help but turn to the person beside me. He was as robust as a fitness instructor, with muscles thicker than the sturdy Nanmu pillars of Chinian Hall. How could someone like him possibly possess such a complex pheromone? De Huang, have you been smoking? Huang Qian was taken aback. Does it smell that strong? Those guys from the Sports Institute insisted on giving me some. Ning Ning, I don't have a smoking habit. I swear. Another lead had gone cold. I needed to find a different way to confirm. After finishing my meal, I brought a portion for Su Shen and Han Lin as well. As Huang Qian and I walked back, we found Han Lin nestled beside Su Shen, his voice high-pitched and sweetly coaxing as he clung to Su Shen's arm. Su Shen, my dear academic genius, let me copy your work. Please. My anger flared, and I kicked the door open with a bang. Han Lin, how shameless can you be? In broad daylight, under the clear sky, he dared to copy his own roommate? Was he even human? I swiftly pulled Sushin behind me. Omega, help Omega. Han Lin looked at me, bewildered. Why are you scolding me? I retorted. What do you mean copy? Who do you think you can just copy? Han Lin protested. What if I just want to copy the physics assignment? If I don't copy Sushin, who else will I copy? You? Do you even know how to do it? I was taken aback. Oh, the physics assignment. What else? Han Lin pondered for a moment and immediately smirked. Ha, your heart must be dirty if you think that way. A soft chuckle came from behind me. I turned. My face flushed, glaring at Sushin. What are you laughing at? If it weren't to protect you, would I be this anxious? Sushin rested his chin on my shoulder, his soft black hair brushing against my face. Thank you, Ning Ning, I permit you to copy. I was momentarily speechless. He deliberately stretched his arms out from my sides, embracing me from behind. He then pulled out his physics assignment from the desk and leaned close to my ear, whispering, only for you. My face turned crimson in an instant. Sushin, get a grip. 2OS will not end well. Although I hold no prejudice against AA or OO pairings, experiencing it myself was still somewhat awkward. I needed to hasten the process. Once I identified the pheromone, I could move out again. As the distance grew, Sushin would gradually come to understand. He was so beautiful and outstanding. He would surely find the finest alpha in the world. Over the weekend, I deliberately avoided Sushin and invited Huang Qian and Han Lin to the gym. In this place, drenched in sweat and rampant with hormones, pheromones were most easily revealed. Come on, let me sniff out which scoundrel exudes the scent of tobacco, leather, and rum. I pretended to warm up, then exclaimed, ouch, I've twisted my ankle. Give me a moment, you two go ahead. They readily complied. Han Lin tied his hair up into a bun and hopped onto a stationary bike. As Huang Qian passed by, he playfully slapped Han Lin's backside. Nice little but you've got there. Don't touch me. Han Lin snapped back, though his ears turned secretly red. My peripheral vision followed Huang Qian, watching him enter the weightlifting area, focusing on the muscles of his chest and abdomen as he exerted himself during a Smith machine bench press. I sat on the mat, resting while discreetly observing the two. Why did it feel so strange? Before I could ponder further, a cold voice loomed over me. Do you like this? I looked up, meeting Sushin's chilling gaze. Huh? How did he arrive here so quickly? I was momentarily stunned, just about to explain that I hadn't meant to isolate him, when Sushin reiterated, do you like looking at abs? I hesitated. I initially wanted to deny it, but then I reconsidered. Sushin had his sights set on me, yet we could never be together. If I could correct his aesthetic preferences and make him fall for a strong alpha instead, wouldn't that perfectly solve everything? I truly am quite clever. Affectionately grasping Sushin's hand, I raised my chin toward Huang Qian. Don't you like such a strong alpha? Look at those well-defined muscles, those powerful arms. They exude such a sense of security. Just think, during intimate moments, he could hold you with one arm. Wow! Just imagining it makes me happy. I trailed off, my voice dwindling as Sushin's expression soured. I shook his arm. What's wrong? Sushin let out a cold laugh, abruptly yanking me from the mat. He wrapped an arm around my waist, effortlessly lifting me. This kind of one-arm embrace? I panicked and clung to his neck, wrapping my legs around his waist. What are you doing? Put me down. Sushin, seemingly showcasing his strength, carried me straight into the weightlifting area. He set me down and rolled up the cuffs of his shirt, revealing a toned and fair forearm. He then lay down on the bench press next to Huang Qian and began lifting weights. I was left utterly speechless. Who was he competing with? Had he been pretending to be an alpha for so long that he truly believed he was one? Yet, to be fair, Sushin was indeed one of the few robust O-types. He looked slim in clothes yet well-built without them. Underneath his thin shirt, he had everything one would expect. The last time we shared a bed, I had secretly touched him. It felt quite nice. I wondered who would benefit from him in the future. These three were working out vigorously at the gym, quickly becoming drenched in sweat. Sushin had a sheen of sweat glistening on his neck and collarbone as he sat up, facing me. He slowly unbuttoned his shirt, one button at a time, to let in some air. I swallowed hard and turned my face away. This was too much. We were all friends. Why flaunt such allure in front of me? The concentration of pheromones in the air began to rise, and I could indeed faintly detect the sense of tobacco, leather, and a hint of rum. My nose twitched as I scanned the area. Just as I stood up, the scent intensified. My sharp gaze shot to the door, locking onto Han Lin, who had just returned from the restroom. So it was you. I dashed towards him, wrapping my arms around his neck as I pulled him along. You made me search high and low.
Han Lin loked pussled.
What do you want with me? I inhaled deeply at his neck. Is this your pheromone?
Han Lin paus.
Then muttered, yeah. You were quite aggressive on my birthday. Han Lin shyly brushed his hair back. Babe, I was just in a hurry. How much pheromone did you pour into me? It's been over a month, and there's still a lingering trace. Han Lin's toes curled against the floor as he forced a dry laugh. Seeing him feign ignorance, I decided to be direct. You need to come with me to the hospital. The alpha pheromone you left behind has made me dependent. I need to extract some of your original pheromone for medication.
Han Lin frose.
I shot him a sidelong glance. What? Are you afraid to own up to it? No, Han Lin stammered, his eyes darting around, and sweat poured down his temples. Babe, that alpha pheromone inside you, it's not mine. I took another deep breath from him. This scent.
Tobacco. Leater. Rum.
Just a tad too sweet. Han Lin was overwhelmingly sweet. I could hardly be bothered to engage in lengthy discourse with him. I resolved to enlist the assistance of my other 2 roommates and drag him straight to the hospital. Han Lin, in a fit of urgency, exclaimed, Jiang Ning, I am also an Omega. He fished a 5 milliliters portable perfume bottle from his pocket and stated, What you are smelling is this, Jazz Lounge. I gazed at him in disbelief. How can this be possible? Otherwise, how would I always carry suppressants? And why would I ride a bicycle to tone my glutes? Seeing my skepticism, Han Lin edged closer and discreetly released a hint of his pheromones. Instantly, I was enveloped by the sweet aroma reminiscent of creamy milk candies. Oh heavens!
Han Lin, blushing,
murmured, my natural scent is far too juvenile, unworthy of my suave persona, so I use perfume to disguise it. Perplexed, I retorted, then why would an Omega bite me? Wasn't it because you were utterly terrifying at that moment, resembling a walking seductress, spreading poison everywhere? I feared you might be captured by some ill-intentioned alpha, so in a moment of panic, I bit you to test it out, only to find my pheromones utterly ineffective. Speechless, I replied, Han Lin, you need to brush up on your basic knowledge. All right, I understand. Please keep this a secret, don't spread it around. Rest assured, I will remain tight-lipped. Thus, in the midst of this comedic debacle, Han Lin and I strolled out, shoulders linked. Why are you pretending to be an alpha? Han Lin's face flushed again as he stammered, I was classmates with Huang Qian in high school. I even came to this university for him. I have a crush on him. I was taken aback by this revelation. Does he know? Han Lin shook his head. Then what on earth are you dating for? With a hint of melancholy, Han Lin replied, I seek advice from senior Omega girls, dropping various hints, but Huang Qian simply doesn't understand. Indeed, Huang Qian, with his obliviousness, still hoped to mark me. I reassured Han Lin, don't fret. When we return, let Sushin help you devise a plan. That clever Omega will surely have no trouble winning over a dim-witted alpha. Han Lin looked at me incredulously. Are you all right? How could Sushin possibly be an Omega? The doctor said. I abruptly halted. The doctor had only detected 1 Omega pheromone. I had prematurely categorized Sushin as an Omega. But now that Han Lin had revealed his own status, it left the remaining 2 as confirmed alphas. Thus, Sushin must be an alpha. I had voluntarily climbed into his bed. I had protected him from Han Lin copying his homework. I had even dragged him along to appreciate the magnificent alphas. How foolish I had been. I was dazed and almost lifeless as Han Lin supported me out, where we reunited with the other 2. They had already showered and changed into clean clothes. Sushin, likely in a hurry, had hastily chosen a bright red polo shirt from the wardrobe, one that had been bulk ordered for the school anniversary. His fair skin and straight shoulders made even such a questionable outfit appear quite appealing. I couldn't help but glance up at him, only to meet Sushin's clear, profound gaze. My heart skipped a beat unexpectedly. Embarrassed, I averted my eyes and turned to Huang Qian, demanding, "To Huang, confess honestly, is the pheromone on me left by you?" Huang Qian instinctively glanced at Han Lin, shaking his hands in denial. No, Ning Ning, I merely grazed you. I stopped in time. If I had truly bitten you, wouldn't that mean I marked you? I wouldn't dare do that. I was bewildered. It wasn't you? Indeed, it wasn't. That left only one person, the one I least expected yet most curiously anticipated. My palms tightened unconsciously, my heart racing chaotically. The air caught in my throat. It was me, Sushin admitted. With a resounding bang, fireworks exploded in my mind. I stared blankly at him as Sushin stepped closer. The warm scent of tobacco mingled with a hint of leather, rich rum, and vanilla, creating a luscious, amber-hued fragrance. This was the first time I had so vividly experienced Sushin's pheromones. It was overwhelmingly intricate. That night, I intended to give you a suppressant, but you suddenly struggled and shattered the vial. Sushin began to explain, and fragmented memories coalesced. I had been taken by Sushin to a temporary room, on the verge of losing consciousness. Yet, at the moment he drew near, I caught a whiff of his faint pheromones on his skin. They say that when one encounters a pheromone with a perfect match, one loses all control. I certainly did. In a sudden frenzy, I toppled Sushin, who towered over me. The suppressant was discarded, the shirt torn. I buried myself into Sushin's embrace, presenting my nape. Mark me. I am yours now. Ah, why must I be reminded of this? How could my rosy lips utter such deranged words? Han Lin had already stealthily dragged Huang Qian away. Sushin stood before me, forcing me into a corner. He lifted my chin with his long fingers. Remember now? No longer pretending to have amnesia? My face flushed crimson and I mumbled, "It's not pretending." Deep down, I simply could not fathom that Sushin would genuinely mark me. Aren't you rather disdainful of me? Sushin furrowed his brows. When have I ever looked down on you? I recounted the incident when I had invited him to cool off in my dormitory, only to be met with a scolding. I felt utterly wronged. You glared at me so fiercely. Sushin's expression shifted from astonishment to resignation. Is that what this is about? I was in a sensitive period at the time and easily lost control. Besides, you came at me completely bare. Who was actually bullying whom? He pushed aside my collar, gently caressing my prominent collarbone with his thumb. You were playing with fire, do you realize that? I fell silent. Sushin's gaze grew more profound. I woke up early every day to reserve your seat for a year. I completed the experimental reports you were too lazy to write. Yet all you remember is me telling you to dress properly. What an ungrateful little white-eyed wolf you are. I dared not respond. My skin trembled under his touch. I'm sorry, I whimpered, attempting to shuffle away, only to be pulled back by Sushin's firm grasp around my waist. I don't want to hear apologies. I only ask you, do the words you spoke still hold weight? I closed my eyes, feigning death. What words? Sushin leaned closer to my ear, his gentle pheromones brushing against me with each breath. Jiangning, are you mine? My heart raced uncontrollably. Stealing my courage, I slowly raised my arms, embracing him back. Yes, I am yours. The end of the tale. Thank you for listening. Until we meet again in the next story.